Hey guys, welcome back. Say hello, Noah. This is Noah. He's the newest addition to our little family, so he's been keeping us very busy, and this is why we haven't really been doing many uploads or anything like that recently. So I'm on maternity leave now at the moment, so while I'm on maternity leave I'm going to hopefully do some extra videos. I've got another 5 months left of my maternity leave, and then I'll go back to work. So we're going to try and change up the content a little bit. We're going to do a little bit more recipes, grocery hauls. So today's video is just some recipes that we've pulled together from things just in our pantry, in our fridge and our freezer. They're all really simple, they don't have many ingredients, and they're really quick and delicious. So like I mentioned earlier, I haven't had a chance to do any shopping or anything yet. So I'm just going to go with stuff that I can find in the fridge and the freezer for dinner tonight. I've gotten out some chicken fajita that I've pre-prepared and frozen. So I did this just before I went on maternity leave. In here, in this chicken fajita mix, what I've got is 2 chicken breasts, some capsicum and an onion. So if you have a look as well, and I can show you when I'm cooking it as well, the size of my chicken compared to my capsicum is quite small compared to the chicken. I do that when I freeze it because then I can go all in the pan at once, whereas normally I would sort of cook off your onion and your capsicum and stuff, because I find that actually takes a lot longer than the chicken to cook when they're all the same size. Okie dokie, so this is what I've got here. So we've got the chicken fajita, we've got our Greek yogurt, our tomato salsa, our cherry tomatoes, our cheese, and our spinach. And I will also grate up a carrot to go on top of mine. Into a nice hot frying pan, we add half the chicken, and then we cook that all the way through, and then we repeat it with the second half of the chicken. We just do it in batches to try and stop it from stewing. Chicken fajita wrap, all done. I also had this for lunch the next day, but I mixed it up a little bit and made it into a salad. On night 2, we decided to have steak and hash. So we've got the steak that I had in the freezer already. We've got the spinach, the potatoes, some carrots, and some frozen broccoli. I'm not a huge fan of frozen broccoli, but we'll give it a go. So I've got here frozen steak that we have in the freezer all the time because we get a quarter of a cow at a time, so that way our freezer's always stocked up with meat. Before we do anything else, I like to get my steaks out and season them and let them come up to room temperature so they can cook really nicely. I use a fair bit of salt because it gives a really nice crust on the outside when you cook it at a high temperature, but it's up to you how much seasoning you want to put on your steak. To make the potato hash, what we're going to do is grate up 2 carrots and 3 potatoes. Then we add them to a bowl. We season them with salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil, and then we give it a really good mix before we pop that in the oven.
into a 180-degree oven, and it will take about 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer depending on how hot your oven gets. To a really hot frying pan on maximum heat, add in some olive oil and then your steaks salt side down. When I'm cooking steak, I leave my steak on the cooking side for a little bit over half of the way, and then I flip over and just finish it off on the other side. I like a medium rare steak, but it's up to you how you want to cook it. So if you like it a little bit more well done, then obviously leave it a little bit longer. After about 6 minutes on one side, or until there's a really nice crust, then I like to give it a good flip over and let it finish for another about 4 minutes, I'd say, for mine. Steaks are cooked to your liking, take them off the heat and put them on a plate and cover them over with alfoil, and then let them rest for at least half of the time that they cooked for. So I let mine rest a little bit longer just because I was waiting for a few things to finish off, but at least half the cooking time to rest. Our steak with potato hash, and I did roasted broccoli for this. I ended up only eating about half of this steak because it was gigantic. And on the third night I decided to do a pesto carbonara. So I've got some bacon here that I keep in the freezer, an avocado, some cheese, an egg, a really good solid handful or two of basil. You want quite a bit of that. Some cherry tomatoes, and some penne pasta that I've always got in the pantry as well. Alright, so now I'm just going to grate my cheese, slice my avocado and chop up my cherry tomatoes in halves. I'm also going to slice up my bacon into small pieces as well. And I'm also going to pop the pasta onto boil. Once you've chopped up your bacon, pop it in a frying pan onto a high heat, and you just want to get it really nice and caramelized and well cooked through. Then we're going to add in our cherry tomatoes to that and mix them through and let them get a little bit soft. For our pasta sauce, we're going to blitz together the ingredients in my NutriBullet. So we've got a really big solid handful of basil. I've reserved a little bit of basil for later. We've got half an avocado chopped so it will blitz nicely. A small handful of cheese just to get some cheese integrated. We'll add more cheese a bit later. And one egg. The egg will thicken the sauce once it hits the heat of the frying pan. Then we add in a really good glug of olive oil and a little dash of water as well, just to sort of thin the sauce out and make it a little bit nicer to blitz and stir through the sauce. And then we blitz. Once your pasta's cooked, add that into the cooked bacon and the softened tomatoes and give that a really good mix through. Next, we add in our sauce. To help with consistency, I then add about half a cup of the pasta cooking water. I use the NutriBullet to do that, just so then I can make sure I also got the last bits of the sauce out of the container. Finally, to finish it off, I add in another small handful of chopped basil, a little bit more grated cheese, and then give that a really good stir through. Finally, season to taste, and I like quite a bit of cracked black pepper in this. It really does make a difference. A splash of apple cider vinegar or lemon juice would also be really delicious at this point too. And there you have a creamy basil carbonara.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a like, just so that I know that this is the kind of content people want to see. And if you've got any content ideas or things that you'd like to see, questions you'd like to be answered, anything like that, please make sure you leave it in the comments below and I'll make sure I get to them. And if you really do enjoy this channel, please make sure you subscribe. It really does help us out. You right there, mister? Yeah? Yeah. Alright, thanks guys.